Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. We're going to get started in a few minutes. We're just going to let a few more people come on. But in the meantime, my name's Kelly. Happy to be here. And this is my colleague and co-host today, Karen. Karen, how are you doing today?
Good. I'm so excited that it's finally summer here in Canada.
Oh my God, I know. I'm so with you. I'm praying it doesn't rain all weekend, but I feel like every long weekend it rains. So
I mean, I don't really trust weather reports anymore. Hopefully it'll clear up by tomorrow.
yeah, totally, totally. Oh. Looks like there are a few more people that have just logged on. Great to see you. We're going to start in a few minutes. Again, just waiting for more people to hop on, give everybody a chance to settle in. Great time to grab some water or drink or whatever. And then we'll dive into the content in a couple of minutes. I like your work from home office setup, Karen.
Thank you. It only took me, 18 months to put this together.
Is that a real plant or a fake plant?
It's real. It's real. It's a struggle to keep it alive, but I think it's chugging along.
You're doing better than I am. I can only have fake plants in the house. I kill all plants. All right, just waiting for a couple more minutes. Lots of great faces here today. Hi, everybody. This is great. This is probably what, Karen, the first time we've worn professional attire in a while? I feel like.
In a while, Kelly. It's been a while.
Yeah, and it's so funny how the definition has changed as to what is professional. May or may not be wearing sweatpants below this screen.
Just maybe.
Just maybe, but definitely. Perfect, lots of people here. Again, if you've just joined us, we're going to start in a couple of minutes. Just wanted to give everybody a little bit more time to get settled in for this. I think we can, let's kick things off, eh, Karen?
Yeah.
Perfect. Sounds great. So again, hi everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today. We're really excited to be here. Today we're going to be going over how to leverage consumer sentiment to drive brand success. We've got a lot of interesting stuff to share with you that hopefully will be some tidbits and takeaways, as well as teasing, some of our new features. Yeah, it's going to be a really informative session. And as always, we really encourage you to join the conversation. Use the hashtag #SamplerTalks on LinkedIn, Twitter, whichever you prefer. And also just to get, if you haven't been in GoToWebinar before, just to get to know the platform a little bit, you can ask questions in the questions tab that you'll see right there, the drop down. We encourage you to ask those at any point throughout the webinar, and we will have a live Q&A session at the end. But please feel free, if it pops into your head in the middle of the webinar, please feel free to pop it in there, and we'll get to your questions at the end. Perfect. So first off, might as well introduce ourselves. My name is Kelly Stewart, and I am the VP of Marketing at Sampler. Sampler is actually a digital product sampling platform that allows brands to send physical products to digitally targeted consumers. We work with hundreds and hundreds of brands, getting them into those hands of really, really high value consumers to foster a long-term brand relationship and build those brand advocates. And I've got my colleague and co-host Karen today to speak to you as well. So Karen, hi, you want to introduce yourself?
Thanks, Kelly. I'm Karen. I'm the Senior Partner Success Manager at Sampler. In the past few years, I've helped over 100 brands deliver their digital sampling program, and really excited to talk to you about how you can use consumer feedback to really help strengthen your marketing even more.
Perfect, thanks. And I was thinking, before we could hop into the content, I'd love to ask just a couple of quick poll questions that will pop up on your screen here, just to kind of get a gauge of everyone who's here today. Let's see. So the first one, have you ever done a digital product sampling program here before? Just leave that up for a few. 79% no. Okay, great. So there'll be stuff to learn here today. We'll go into that a little bit and what a digital product sampling program is, and how consumer feedback weaves into that. And then just another quick second question, more around consumer feedback itself. How do you analyze consumer feedback right now? And it's okay if you don't know. Just a few options here, whether maybe you don't analyze it yet, maybe it's not part of your strategy and you're just, in the learning phase, totally fine. Just trying to get, once again, a gauge on our audience today. So just let that go for one more second, give everybody time to answer. All right, so it looks like majority of you are manually sifting through reviews and social comments left by consumers. As a marketer myself, I know how valuable but also time consuming that can be. So thank you so much for answering those questions. That really, really helps give myself and Karen context. So without further ado, we'll hop into the content. And so looking at how machine learning boosts the power of your consumer feedback. Also known as opinion mining. There's a lot of different terms around this, but this is a pretty common one. Consumer feedback tools are definitely, gaining in popularity, and they really allow you to determine the emotional as well as, the tone behind the series of words within that review. So instead of just sifting through it one by one, there is that machine learning that kind of aggregates it for you and gets those findings and trends for you. So, you're not spending all that time processing and analyzing consumer feedback. You can gain a way better understanding of the, opinions, the emotions of your consumers through machine learning and natural language processing. At Sampler, we actually call that sentiment analysis. But it is becoming a very big growing trend because it is so useful to brands, to marketers, to really, action that feedback that they're getting from consumers and action a very, very high volume of that feedback very quickly and efficiently. And so when you look at this world of data overload, I think we can all agree there's just data everywhere. It's so hard to know what to do with it, how to compile it, how to organize it. And as I said, really getting to the root of it to get those actionable takeaways can be very, very difficult. And so the bigger your brand gets, the more difficult that becomes. And collecting, mountains of consumer feedback on the daily, whether it's, Google reviews or comments on social, it's incredibly difficult to centralize all of that in one place and really understand it. So how do you sort through thousands of tweets, of reviews, of surveys, to really extract the deep insights that you need to action and to really understand, how your consumers are feeling, which is at the root of all of this. So there's three different ways that, you can boost the power of consumer feedback with machine learning. One, as I already mentioned, is, surfing through data and sorting it at scale. That's a biggie. Once again, a time saver, boosts efficiencies, and it may, help you. It also helps with consumer-focused product, innovation and testing. So maybe there are certain trending words that are being used around your product that you never thought of, or attributes that you didn't realize were so important to the consumer that really are. And now having that machine learning to identify that for you at scale can really help pivot even just product testing and product innovation for your team, as well as optimizing market content and e-commerce descriptions. Really figuring out how your consumers feel at mass and at scale can power your entire marketing mix and your entire communications and foundational marketing. Maybe, again, something that was really interesting for us as a digital product sampling company is that we saw, the term contactless come up in the last year that we didn't know was necessarily a word associated to our industry. And so learning that supercharged and powered our entire marketing strategy. Very similar with the consumer feedback here. You can start to identify those trends and it can be a complete game changer for brands. So going a little bit more into the sorting of the data at scale, The retail sector experienced 10 years of growth in digital penetration in a matter of months. It's obviously been a very interesting year for, the CPG world, pivoting to e-com, that becoming kind of the pillar channel for all brands. But, the result of this is a massive surge in data, and it hasn't really provided marketers with substantially better understanding of their customers because there's just too much. And, companies' outdated data modeling isn't able to capture those and shift to the necessary granularity and speed that is happening on a day-to-day basis now. I mean, insights you may have had from a week ago from manually sifting through your reviews could be outdated now. Everything moves so quickly. The consumers are more informed than ever and more outspoken than ever. And, setting yourself up to be as agile and scalable as you'd like can be really, really difficult without that machine learning component. And so also ratings and reviews shouldn't be a filling the bucket exercise, right? It's not about just stacking them up, but actually getting, insights, actionable tidbits out of it, and a scalable process that really continuously allows brands to know their consumers better, and better, the better the reviews get, the more you do that. It's also about, your consumers want to be heard. So it can be really, really, really difficult, especially when you get a high volume, to make sure that every single review is heard, every single, as I was saying, compliment or feedback is taken into consideration seriously to really build that direct to consumer relationship. And that's where these tools can really, really help as well, and how important consumer feedback can be to the foundation of your entire business. And so if we look at consumer-focused product innovation and testing, proactively identify problems and issues with your products based on consumer sentiment. We had a brand a few years ago. It was an emerging brand that had a lollipop that was a cold medicine lollipop, all natural. And they did a sampling program with us. And they actually found out in the consumer feedback that the consumers didn't like the taste of their product. They liked what it did, they thought it helped, but they just weren't a fan of the taste, and it was deterring them from actually purchasing it after the program. These are the kind of insights that you can find when you really start digging into those reviews, rather than just checking them off as a box. It can really, as I said, supercharge your innovation around your product. Easily update and A/B test new products. We have that all the time, and where you may be launching 2 different flavors, and you really want to understand which one resonates best. It's a great way to do it, and agilely looking at consumer feedback in real time and seeing which one is pulling ahead of the other, which one should be the leading product in your upcoming campaign, as well as having innovation truly be customer focused. As I said, with that lollipop example, crowdsourcing that feedback and really getting to the root of it, to the people who will actually use your product on a day-to-day basis. There is absolutely nothing more valuable than that as a brand, and it helps with your relationship with those consumers. Once again, they feel heard, they feel seen, and that's how you build that long-lasting relationship with them. On top of that, creating products that your consumers actually want. We may think we have an idea of what our value prop is or why we resonate with certain consumers, but it may be something completely different that we didn't even think of. And those are the things that you can only really find when you dig deep into consumer feedback at scale. So then if we start looking at optimizing, marketing content and e-commerce descriptions, again, learning the vernacular and the language of your consumers. How do they speak? What do they read? All those kinds of things. Identify common keywords or themes in their feedback. Again, what are those descriptor words that they are using for your product? Sweet, tasty. What is it that they're saying? And how do you weave that into your content to better speak to them and resonate with them? And not only that, use these to craft really, really effective marketing content and product descriptions. So once again, you have those actionable, verbs or keywords that are really going to hit home with them and have a lasting effect in their mind when they're in the aisle next time looking at which product to buy. And so when we look at where feedback begins around trying and testing and sampling, there's so much about this, but we know that consumer feedback is super essential in fueling the growth of absolutely any brand. So let's take a step back and look at where the feedback loop begins. One of the best ways to gather valuable consumer feedback is just by getting your product into the hands of consumers. And so, we know that 1 in 4 consumers who get a free sample leave a review of the product. And so I'm going to hand this, over to Karen to go over. But basically, it's supercharging it and getting that product into their hands is so important to get a review, to leave a review. So product sampling is not only an immersive experience that allows your consumers to feel or touch or taste or smell your product, but it's a super effective way to collect powerful consumer feedback. There's that reciprocity piece where they feel like you've given them something and they want to give you something in return and in earnest. They really believe that you have put yourself out there on a limb to give them your product, and they owe you something in that regard. So by simply optimizing your social channels to allow for a consumer to try that product and supercharge that those channels, make it really easy for them to leave that review, share that feedback with friends. You create this direct line of communication and a really established, a strong stream of genuine feedback. So if we're looking at integrating that sampling into your current marketing channels, it's super simple to add a sampling call to action to your existing ads, to your existing influencer marketing campaigns. It's a great way to populate ratings and reviews. And Karen's going to walk you through a typical sampling program with Sampler and show you some of the ways that we're able to analyze and leverage the insights collected during that. Karen, I'll hand it over to you.
Thanks, Kelly. So like Kelly mentioned, there are different ways that you can tie sampling into your marketing strategy. So the first way that I wanted to briefly touch upon is that you can actually easily add a sampling call to action to your paid media if that's part of your marketing strategy. Our technology is super simple to use. Anywhere that you can add a call to action, we can add a sampling program to that component. So, effectively, you're actually adding a consumer feedback component directly to your marketing buy and your media buy, and really helping you close the loop there. So we also understand that, for some brands, paid media isn't a big part of their strategy. So Kelly, if we go to the next slide, by tapping into Sampler's own audience that we have, you're actually able to distribute your product directly to our audience as well. And here's an example of what that consumer experience looks like. So consumers first access Sampler in the first screen. In the second screen, they tell us about what their lifestyle preferences are. Do they have kids? How old are their kids? Do they like to eat? What do they like to eat? Are they vegan, vegetarian, organic shoppers? Where do they shop? So after we know, who this consumer is, what their lifestyle is like, our technology matches them with samples that we think they'll like. On the third screen, consumers are then able to see all of the samples that match with their lifestyle, but more importantly, they actually get to hand select the samples that they like to try. So it's not like everyone's getting the exact same box. You're actually personalizing a box that you'll like, or at least try. Once consumers have a chance to try it, they'll get the box directly at home. So it's super simple. It's like, Christmas. You get an unexpected package of things that you get to discover. But the journey doesn't just end there. After a consumer has a bit of time to try the sample, they actually receive follow-up communications like coupons, and more importantly, like the post-trial survey that help brands really gather consumer feedback and close the loop. So this is where you get to ask them, did you like it? Did you try it? What did you not like about it? And really hone into that consumer experience. So what can you expect from that post-trial survey? We see about 1 in 4 consumers will leave a rating and review after trying the product. So Sampler doesn't actually, incentivize consumers to leave feedback in the sense that we don't say, hey, you have to give us a positive feedback. We want to make sure that all of the feedback you collect is genuine and authentic and really representative of what the consumer feels and thinks. We also work directly with partners like Bazaar Voice and Power Reviews that help brands syndicate the reviews that they collect directly to e-commerce sites like Walmart.com, making it super simple for the brand. So it's very low touch, all automated there. So unlike offline sampling options, Sampler actually gives you access to your analytics as soon as your program is live. This dashboard gives you real-time data on your program performance, along with insights on consumer demographics, shopping habits, family lifestyle insights, and post-trial feedback like ratings and reviews. So in this dashboard, you're able to see, how many kids do these consumers have? You're able to see the information that the consumer has shared directly with us, and really go deep into who is this consumer that has received your product, who is this consumer that tried your product, and most importantly, what do they think? Once a program has gone live, our latest sentiment analysis feature allows you to quickly understand the themes and feelings that consumers have about your product. So let's get started, and I'd like to walk you through what you can expect from this new part of the analytics dashboard. So here's what it looks like. You know, in this dashboard, there's a lot of information. A few things that I like to highlight here include, you know, the average rating in the middle. So here you can see, you know, what did consumers rate your product? And also, interestingly, we've included a sampler category average. So that is the average of all your peers that have worked with Sampler in your category. This allows you to easily see if your product is outperforming your peers and how does that compare. On the right, you'll see a sentiment meter. So that measures how consumers are feeling about this product. In this example, you'll see that 80% of consumers felt positively about your product, which is very, very good. And we'll dive in a little bit deeper on what that means and what you can do with it. Earlier, Kelly mentioned that there are a few different use cases for analyzing consumer feedback. So I wanted to take a little bit of a deeper dive into how you can really turn all of this data collected through your sampling program into meaningful and actionable insights for your brand. The first use case I'd like to touch upon is sorting data at scale. One of the primary use cases for digital product sampling is the ability to ask your consumers for that valuable feedback. You know, what do they think about the product? Would they recommend it to a peer? How does it compare to other brands they've tried? Is there anything in particular that they would change about your product? All of these things are super useful for you to bring into your product development, marketing, and sales efforts. But having the product feedback is not good enough. There's so many valuable insights and trends and patterns that get lost in the sea of raw and unprocessed reviews. Honestly, sometimes I spend an hour reading reviews and I get through maybe 100, maybe 200 of them. Going through tens of thousands of reviews is an unimaginable exercise. That's why we've developed our new tool that allows you to derive insights from thousands of reviews very, very quickly. As you can see in the screenshot, a super simple look at the sentiment distribution graph in the middle allows you to instantly determine whether or not the sentiment is positive, neutral, or negative. As you can see in the graph, you know, it makes sense that consumers rating it 4 and 5 stars have a more positive sentiment versus, you know, the 1 or 2 stars have a bit more negative sentiment. But what does this actually mean for the brand? Let me give you an example. If you're a skincare company and you've recently launched a hydrating face cream, how many of your consumers actually felt that it was a hydrating product? By using our search bar, you can sort through your reviews very quickly and get a report of every review mentioning the word hydrated, as well as the sentiment on the right corresponding to tell you whether or not the review is positive, neutral, or negative. If we take this a step further and you targeted consumers with dry skin, did those consumers with dry skin positively react to this product, or did the majority felt like I couldn't really feel a difference? And if so, why? All of these information, you know, are key and would take hours and hours of time combing and sorting through this feedback manually. Using the search function and looking for dry skin, you're able to get the answers to all of these questions in just a few minutes. And that is the power of, you know, doing this at scale. So the next use case I'd like to touch upon is for brands to use feedback to make sure that your product innovation is truly consumer focused. Your sampler program can be a consumer feedback goldmine for product improvement and recommendations. Now that you've built a direct line of communications with your consumers who are actively engaging with the product, you get to better understand the why behind the consumer feedback. We've built a very intuitive sorting mechanism that allows you to easily filter for the negative sentiments and see what specifically consumers do not like. Our keywords tool allows you to easily extract the top themes that consumers are mentioning in their review. So as you can see there are some nouns and some adjectives that are shown here from this campaign and really showing what the consumers are saying. This is a great way for brands to really iterate quicker and make sure that their product gets better with each iteration, and also a great way to get early product feedback for innovation. If you're launching a new product you're not 100% sure about, it's easy to just test with a few thousand consumers and make sure that you've actually got it right before launching it at scale. When a product has multiple flavors or variations, this tool can also help brands compare and contrast the performance across different SKUs. For example, if you have a chocolate product and a vanilla product, this allows you to see whether or not consumers found, which product they liked more. What are the top words that they're describing for each product? And truly making sure that you're launching products that consumers will love, and improving the products that consumers are not so sure about. So the last but not least use case I wanted to touch upon is that consumer feedback can also help optimize marketing content and e-commerce product descriptions. As we all know, e-commerce is a growing trend and it's not going to go away. By analyzing the reviews that consumers give can help brands speak the same language that the consumers are speaking. Brands can help increase their conversion and affinity by incorporating the keywords or themes that consumers are mentioning in their reviews. You can do this by incorporating that into your e-commerce pages, the product descriptions, as well as the marketing content. For example, if soft is one of the keywords that consumers are mentioning in their positive reviews, the brand should consider including softness in the product page and really highlighting the reviews that are mentioning this aspect on their website. By using the words that consumers themselves use to describe the products, this will make them feel much more seen, make them feel heard, and make them really feel that this product is exactly what they're looking for. And that's what we're really trying to help you do with this new tool that we've launched. And with that, let's open it up to questions.
Perfect. Thanks, Karen. Live Q&A. So we've got a lot of amazing questions. I'm going to kick it off here. Could you give an example of how you could incorporate feedback into your content? Absolutely. There could be, let's say you've got either a blog or even just, as we said, product descriptions. Let's say there are specific keywords identified here that you're starting to see, gentle is a word that they're bringing up that you never had in your product description before, or soft, fresh. Fresh, that's such a specific word. But if that's what keeps coming up to a point where it's trending, that might be something to consider to weave into your product description, or even your calls or your homepage, right? Like your header one on your homepage. Maybe the descriptor that you use is fresh, and you never knew that before. There could be content around 5 ways to keep your skin hydrated. Like anything like that. It's looking at these keywords and weaving them into your content, because the keywords themselves are coming from your end and target consumer. Let them steer and dictate, what descriptor words, what keywords, and what way you write your product description pages and your e-com platform as a whole, whether that's the content itself or whether that's the actual product details and descriptions. I hope that helps. Another question, does Sampler require participants who receive samples to post about them on social media, leave product reviews, spread the word to friends, etc.? Does this tend to happen organically? Karen, do you want to take that one?
Yeah, absolutely. So, for Sampler, we really strive to create an authentic and genuine experience for our consumers. So we do not require them to post, on social media or leave reviews. So everything that you see happens organically. Even though we don't require them to do that, we still see about 25% of consumers will organically leave those reviews because they feel very strongly about their experience and they want to share that with the brands. And we actually see a lot of consumers posting organically on Instagram as well, showcasing their unboxing experiences. And we really love to see that because it really shows that you're reaching consumers that are highly engaged, they're not incentivized, but they love your product so much that they want to spread the word to their social circle.
This is something we say often at Sampler, but you always hear the term direct to consumer, but from the consumers, they want a direct to brand relationship as well. Flip it on its head. They're craving that relationship, that place where they can give you that feedback. And sometimes, support emails or social media DMs can feel like a bit of an echo chamber. It provides a platform for them that they really want to be a part of. They see themselves as product reviewers, as product testers, and really empowered that you gave them the product and you want to hear their feedback. So it really results in this amazing, organic, kind of natural atmosphere that you get really, really honest, genuine feedback that is actionable as well.
And I think that's a great segue to the next question, Kelly. Through Sampler, are brands able to connect with the people who sample their products through emails, targeted ads, and whatnot? Actually, as a part of our journey, we do have a place where we allow consumers to opt in to receive more communications from the brand directly. So again, this is voluntary. We're not forcing them to join that email list, but that really allows you to get a list of really engaged consumers who've raised their hand and said, I actually do want to learn more about this brand. And like Kelly said, really facilitating that direct to brand relationship for the consumers, where they say, hey, I feel empowered to learn more about this product, this brand. And definitely we've seen some great results from brands cultivating those lists and really creating a strong circle and brand loyalty, turning consumers from just consumers to really advocates for the brand.
Yeah, Sampler is built in a way that fosters a whole journey, the whole life cycle journey with consumers. It's not a one-off program situation. Our goal is to build you a huge database of brand advocates. And so, as Karen mentioned, everything revolves around getting that information for you, building that relationship, fostering that relationship, and doing so in a very genuine way that sets you up for a long relationship and high lifetime value with your consumer. Next question, has Sampler been able to deploy chilled or frozen products? Very good question. Karen, I don't know if you have more information. I was just going to chat about the free product coupons, but I don't know if you'd like to dive in from your side of things.
Yeah, absolutely. So as you can imagine, shipping frozen or chilled products is a little bit difficult to make sure that, it stays at the right temperature throughout the entire journey. So what we found works well is to instead give consumers a free product coupon that drives them to stores that, these products are sold in. So you still get to capture feedback from the consumers. They still get the survey after they try it. And it's great because also, you're driving consumers directly to stores so that they can actually see the different flavors that they can choose from and really pick one that they are most likely to enjoy. So we've seen quite a bit of success that way, working with more perishable foods through a free product coupon as well.
Perfect, thank you. And then the next question, can you search for a specific theme or keyword using this feature? As you can see, you actually can. Karen went through it, but you've got the search bar there. You can look for those specific keywords if you're really interested in one, as well as the context that keyword was used in a review. So we know that that's really important to brands, and we wanted to make it really easy to better understand and dig into those keywords.
And if we want to take it like one step further, if you're sifting through, a lot of reviews, some brands will also say, hey, I want to know if any of these reviews mention, my largest competitor. And we've actually done that before. And, some consumers do say that. They'll say, hey, this is so much better than X brand that I used to purchase. So, there's so many creative ways you can use the search feature to go much, much deeper into the reviews and really understand your consumers a lot more.
Perfect. Okay, next question. Who are the consumers you distribute the samples to? Great question. So we've built actually a database that has a total reach of about 60 million consumers all across North America, Canada and US, not just Canada. So, they're all across the board in what their interests are, what their demographics are. That's the really great thing about Sampler, is that when they set up an account, they actually answer some diagnostic questions to tell us a little bit more about themselves. And that way we can put them in, segments, whether that's health and wellness lovers, pet owners, or even have those overlap. And so, as a brand, you can decide which of those segments you'd like to target, or which overlapping segments you'd like to target. Maybe you want a primary shopper who owns a dog, or someone who has 2 children and owns a dog, or geolocation. All these things can be done. That's the amazing thing about our database. We actually have on average about 43 data points per user. So we're able to slice and dice it and segment and target in any way, in any segment that you're looking for. We have over 700 different targetable segments in our database. Next question, do you mix different types of products together? For example, food with skincare. Karen, do you want to take that one?
Sure. So the short answer is yes, we do, because we want to make sure that, the package is customized to the consumer. So we typically don't do, a food box where it's just food products, or a skincare box that's just skincare products. We kind of do mix and match to make sure it is really a customized box. So, when I open my box, everything in the box is customized to me, whether it's, a skincare product that is suitable for my skin type, food that I will be interested in try, beverage, anything like that. We do ensure that, the products are packaged in a way that that makes sense, so that you're not having, food that smells like household products or whatnot. And the other thing that we actually do is ensure that there is category exclusivity for brands. So you will never show up alongside with another product that's basically the exact same as yours. So shampoo will never show up with shampoo. And really that helps us, create a better consumer experience, but also a better brand experience as well, where the brands will have a little bit higher share of voice.
Perfect. Thank you. Question, is this service available Canada-wide? Yes, absolutely. As I said, we're all across North America, and we've actually worked in, I believe it's 24 different markets across the world at this point now. So yes, definitely Canada-wide. And then this is a great question for you, and it looks like our last question, Karen. What kind of brands does Sampler work with? I'm an emerging brand. How many samples do I need to start?
Yeah, absolutely. So we work with brands of all sizes, from the really, really big ones to the really, really emerging ones as well. Typically in our experience, if you can start with 3,000 to 5,000 samples, that's a great number to kind of start getting amount of consumer feedback that's actually actionable. And our team, the big focus of our team is making sure that we design your program in a way that you are able to get actionable insights from the program. And you'll be able to access all of those insights as they come in through your dashboard as well. So definitely we are very, very friendly with emerging brands as well.
Perfect. Thank you. It looks like that's all of our questions today. And if you have any more questions, feel free to shoot them our way. You can email us at sales@sampler.io. You can find us at sampler.io as well, and LinkedIn and Twitter. Always happy to answer any questions. And of course, I just really want to say thank you for attending this webinar today. It was really fun to show you sentiment analysis and machine learning consumer feedback. We're really excited about it. And yeah, thanks again, and have an amazing rest of your week. And thank you, Karen, for joining me today.
Thanks, Kelly. Thanks, everyone.